Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm glad to be back. All my tests went well, so that's really great. Today I'm going to cover what a carbon footprint is. If you like this video, please subscribe, give it a like, and turn on the bell to be notified when I post a new video. A carbon footprint historically has been defined as the total emissions an individual, corporation, organization, or product makes expressed in a carbon dioxide equivalent. What would this include, you may ask? It includes many different things. One of them would be how often you drive. Do you drive once a week, once a year, every day? This is so important in calculating your own carbon footprint. Also, how often do you eat meat? Do you eat meat once a week, or are you completely vegan or vegetarian? Those also cause a huge amount of damage to the planet in terms of CO2 emissions. Some other ones would be how often you fly. You may have seen recently a climate change protester was on top of a plane. What they were protesting was the fact that planes use a lot of gasoline and fuel, fossil fuels to be more specific, and that emits a lot of CO2. And so that's really important to consider how often you fly because it can really hurt the planet. It also depends on where you live. Some places emit more CO2 than others, so keep that in mind what heating and air conditioning units you use. You sure do. So it's super important that everybody calculates their own carbon footprint because we all have individual work we have to do to decrease our own footprint. There are so many great online calculators that can do this for you. They ask questions about like your diet, how often you drive, things like that, and they'll tell you your own personal carbon footprint. Here are some ways you can reduce your own carbon footprint. The first tip I have for you is to drive less. Maybe take the bus, walk, or carpool. If you really like driving, that's okay. Maybe offer to carpool, that way you decrease other people's carbon footprints and yourselves because you're helping other people offset their own carbon footprint. The bus normally is cheaper too, so definitely take the bus. I'm a huge fan of the bus, so take the bus and walk, of course, so it's better for your health. Changing your diet is also super key in decreasing your own carbon footprint. I have done multiple videos on going vegan, going vegetarian, the benefits of those things, and I've told you what I try to do in terms of eating less meat and dairy. So try to eat less meat and dairy and more plants because it's just healthier overall for you because you're eating less processed foods and no one had to get harmed in creating your food, and then CO2 emissions don't have to increase. Try to make sure you're using less air conditioning and heat if you don't need it. If it's a really nice day and you don't need the air conditioning on, don't have it on because it adds to CO2 emissions. The same thing for heat. If you're feeling fine and you feel like the heat's excessive, turn down the heat. That really helps with decreasing your own personal CO2 emissions. My other suggestion would be to plant more trees and other bushes and flowers because those really help offset the amount of CO2 that we put into the air. You recently might have seen Mr. Beast, like he's a famous YouTuber on YouTube, and he has recently pledged to plant like millions of trees, which is super cool. So try to do something similar. Not millions of trees, like not everyone has that ability, but maybe plant a tree every once in a while or plant a flower or a bush because it is good to do, and encourage other people to do the same. If you don't live in a place where you can have a lot of green space, you can always plant herbs and make your own little mini garden if possible. My other tip would be to follow the R's. I've done a whole entire YouTube playlist on this topic, and really check that out because that goes in depth with reduce, reuse, recycle, refuse, all those different things that everyone really should do because they're really good for the planet, and after a while they really become habitual and you don't really even think about it anymore. For instance, I started composting and now it's just like so normal for me to do. I'm not going to throw out food waste that I could compost, so you can get used to it too. The last tip I have for you is to pay attention to what you buy. If you support a lot of fast fashion brands like H&M and Zara, really pay attention to that because they add a lot to CO2 emissions in order to get the clothes to us. So make sure whenever you're going to go shopping, think about all the stuff you're buying and asking the questions like where was this made? How far did it have to travel to get here? Because those are really crucial in decreasing your own personal carbon footprint. I have a quick question. Are you learning something new? Let me know in the comments below by writing fighter. What I love about this concept is that it's really individual to each person. I have a carbon footprint, you have a carbon footprint, and we all have to work on decreasing our own personal carbon footprints because I can't make someone else try to do something to their carbon footprint, I have to focus on my own carbon footprint. Every day I try to eat less meat and dairy, I compost, follow the R's, take the bus, and walk as much as possible. I'm really trying to decrease my carbon footprint, so I really hope this video encourages you to do the same. It really starts with small steps, so start there because they can become really large scale in the future. While it's important that each of us does something, corporations are a huge problem too. So it's super important that you take it to them by paying with your pocketbook. Support corporations that are trying to decrease their carbon footprint instead of adding to it. Money matters and corporations pay attention to the profits they make. So really try to make an impact there, but also go calculate your own personal carbon footprint and try to make changes in that area too. We can make corporations do changes, but we also have to do something as well. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Next Friday, I'm going to discuss social media and its impact on the environment. If you want to learn about the Sustainable Development Goals crafted by the United Nations for 2030, click the video right here. Also, take a picture of this screen right now and I'll shout you out on social media. Just tag me on Instagram or Twitter. Lastly, if you like this video, please subscribe, give it a like, and share it with someone who could benefit. Let's make the world a better place.